Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Education Connection. Tonight, we are graced with the team from Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy. We have Ms. Margaret Phillips, the principal. We have Mrs. Tina Duke, Acting Assistant Director of Student Services at the Department of Education. We also have with us Julie Lynn, School Social Worker at Dame. And then we have Patty Jean Roberts, teacher of students with visual impairments and orientation and mobility specialist. That's a mouthful. We want to welcome all of them here tonight, and we want to say a welcome to Minister, the Honorable Diallo Robin, the Minister of Education, who's going to lead the discussion tonight. Thank you, and have a great show, everyone.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
And thank you, Dana, for that wonderful introduction. I'm excited to be here today. As we keep growing Education Connection, the purpose of this is to give the Bermudian public an opportunity to engage in what's happening in education, also ask questions in real time. Today we have the lovely ladies from Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy. And of course, we have Ms. Phillips, who's just going to give us a brief introduction on what Dame is about, because some people might not even know this school exists, because when we talk about all the other schools, they might not even know what goes on down there. But I know from the interaction that I've had with the teachers in there, and when we used to be able to do the open houses, hopefully those can return. We can and people gives people an opportunity to see some of the wonderful things that are happening with our students that may need a little extra bit of attention than students that go into our mainstream schools. So I'll just open it up with you, Ms. Phillips, just to give us a brief overview of Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy.
Thank you, Minister. So for context, Dame opened its doors in 2003 to the public. We serve students, it's a member of the Bermuda public school system, and we serve students ages 4 through 18 with severe, profound, multiple learning disabilities and complex care needs. We work as a team, so we have a team of teachers, therapists, nurses, administrators who serve our dynamic, diverse population of students.
Thank you for that. And so let's talk about the types of services that one can expect for the students down at Hope Academy.
So as I mentioned, we serve students who require intense intervention. And you will find that on intake, we have the interviews with our parents. We establish what the strengths and needs of our students are. We will prepare what is called an individual education plan for the students. And on our team, any one team of a student, we have teachers. We may have an occupational therapist, a speech and language therapist, physical therapist on that team, as well as the nurse, because some of our students also have medical needs. And in that, we work with students at their developmental level. So some of our students are starting with readiness skills, which we will work with them on. And we also work with the academic skills that they have to grow those skills. So any one student could have upwards of 5 persons on their team, and we work in an interdisciplinary, collaborative manner to serve our children. Our children will have the regular academics. So when you walk through our school, you will see us starting off with morning meeting, which is a common feature that you will see in a regular primary school classroom. And they will be doing their do nows. You will also see students being pulled for therapy, or we'll have that push in for therapy. Our nurses may be coming in to do tube feeds, catheterization. So it's a very complex, a very dynamic interaction between staff and students and with each other. And a big part of our team is our parents. Our parents, we regard them as integral. They are the first advocates for our students, and they We listen to them because they know what they want for their children. We tap into what their dream is for their child, and we do everything to facilitate growth in that direction.
And thank you for that, because I was actually just writing down my notes. Was We have to give a shout out to the parents of Dame. They are fully committed, and I know we had a meeting with them just last week to discuss some things,
Yeah,
some things that they would like to see happen at the school. And I just wanted, they are always fully engaged. They're always coming with the documentation. They're coming with solutions as well. They're not just coming with
yeah,
complaints. They
yeah,
also come with solutions. And it's not every day that people get to engage with the students of the type that go to Dame. I know last year I was pleased to meet them. They were on Cabinet grounds, and we came
right,
down there, and I had I was talking to a couple of them, and it was they're just regular students. They have some exceptionalities that need to be looked at differently than they would in a regular school. But at the end of the day, they're just regular students. Um,
correct.
Ms. Duke, I was just curious to know if you could just let everyone know what is your role that you play in the care of students, not just at Dame, but I know in your role here at the Department of Education. In special services, you do have a very special role to play when it comes to students with exceptionalities.
Okay, so yes, Minister, I actually lead the charge as it relates to support services for all of the students within the Bermuda public school system. So DAME is just one facet of that. But at the end of the day, I am the person who they call for everything. I speak to Principal Phillips at least 3 times a day because it's always something that she needs to tell me, or it's always something that I need to do. So I actually work for them. I work for the teachers, the principals, the special students that we have in our system. And when I say special, we mean everyone, because all students are special, but support services. So counseling services, educational therapy services, learning support services, adaptive physical education, all of those things, vision, hearing, all of those fall under the remit of the assistant director of student services. So that's my role. It's a very humbling charge because it sort of opens your eyes to exactly what it is that we are doing as educators. And we have a very, very, very special task. We are doing God's work every single day, and that's just something. So I'm humbled being in this position because it gives me the ability to see system wide what our phenomenal educators are doing for all students in the Bermuda public school system.
And that brings me to another point. It's something that I have in discussions with my colleagues at the private school level. I do have a very good relationship with all of the principals at all of our private schools. We actually talk on a much more regular basis than people think. I think probably I as a minister, I've engaged much more often with them than previous. But when people talk about the public school system and why I'm so passionate about it is the public school system is the lifeblood of any community. You have to have a successful public school system, and the reason is because public school system is the only comprehensive system in any country. They are the only system that takes all students, regardless of their ability, regardless of their exceptionalities, and figures out a way to make sure that they have a learning experience that is worthy of being a student in the system. And so, that's not a knock on our private school systems, which they're not comprehensive. They're not as comprehensive as us. And so when you hear as Duke talk about things like visual, we have to provide visual enhancements. We have to provide hearing things for persons that may be hearing impaired. We have to provide things for persons with exceptionalities, persons with physical disabilities, persons with with emotional disabilities, and all of that. That all has to be done. And so when next time when people are talking about public school, just remember, it's a lot bigger thing than just going to school, a student arriving at school and learning their ABCs, so to speak. Miss Patty Jean Roberts, I see you over there. You're looking anxious to speak. And I just want to ask you a question. When we talk about a typical student at Dame, what could you tell the public what a typical student at Dame is like? You're muted. You're muted.
Yes, a typical student at Dame, just as you said, they are just our average child with various needs, exceptionalities. They are very enthusiastic when they enter the building, eager to know what is being presented for them for the day. And they are just such a pleasure to work with. They're just eager students as I see them.
Okay, take us through a typical day that you would have with a student, with your students.
Okay, so I'm an itinerant teacher. So I'm one of the teachers that travel from school to school. I'm not at Dame full time. And so when I come in, I ensure that I liaise with the teachers very closely to ensure that the materials that they are presenting to the students are such that they can access them readily. So making sure that they have the high contrast if they need it, because I'm working with students who are either low vision or no vision. I just need to ensure that they can have the materials that they need.
Hmm. And we thank you for everything that you do. Miss Lynn, I won't say the other name. Tell us about your role as a social worker.
So primarily I work with the families of our students, and that may be providing support. They need some support, or doing a lot of case management with families. So I might sit with a family and talk them through some of the issues that they are currently going through and assess needs, and then try and connect them with resources in the community. Sometimes it may be liaising with one of our own team members, but I do work very closely with colleagues in other agencies, helping agencies around the island, such as Child and Adolescent Services, Child and Family Services, WinReach, those types of places. So I would liaise a lot with other persons that are part of our students' whole team.
Mm-hmm.
And I also do a lot of work with our school charity, the Friends of Hope Academy. It's a charity that supports a lot of the work that goes on at the school. So I do a lot of work specifically with donors, people who might be interested in supporting Dame. So we talk to them, give them those open house tours that we talked about earlier. I might lead those and really try and engage people who are interested in supporting the school and keeping those relationships going.
Thank you, Julie. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure everyone out there listening is getting a better understanding of what's happening in Dame and the types of things that need to be put in place, and why we have such schools like this to put forward. Ms. Phillips, earlier today, I was talking about the difficulties that have been brought upon us from having to deal with COVID and still figuring out how to work the school system. I know Dame is one of the places that we have put a high priority on when it comes to COVID testing and getting that done, because we understand the need to do things a little bit differently for our school population. So just can you give us just an overview of how the approach to COVID has impacted the learning, but how we've managed to overcome some of those things.
I want to say a big thank you just to start. It has been quite a journey with COVID. And throughout the journey, we as a team, we have reflected that there have been challenges, yes. However, we have noted some positive things as a result. I want to say a big thank you as well for receiving requests during the middle of the night, because as you can imagine, with our students, unlike the other students in the mainstream, they require, some of them, full-time care. So when we were on lockdown and parents were charged with working from home, to have a student who requires full-time assistance and care for feeding, for sitting, for changing position, dealing with whether or not they had a seizure in the moment, plus carry-on work, was exceedingly difficult and taxing. Mm-hmm. On the other side of that, we were able, the team, I have to pause here and say, shout out to the most amazing team of educators, therapists, nurses, staff, administrator, everyone who came together to figure it out, to make it work for our students as best as we can. Our students require full assistance for everything, for learning and growing. And so we were charged with having to figure out how we can support our parents to do this. We got the opportunity to work with our parents as they provided follow through with any kind of lesson that the teacher prepared for those students who could engage. And so when we were in that full lockdown stage, team members were going back and forth behind the scenes, behind the Zoom calls, to connect with parents to make sure they had whatever they needed. And those parents who can engaged for whatever periods of time that they could. And I say kudos to them for doing that. We had those challenges when we had the return to school testing, and there were those glitches, and we worked through them. And I'm appreciative that the parents came alongside to do that as well. As much as possible as we can, the face-to-face for us is crucial. And I'm thankful that we're back in the building. All of us wanted our students back in the building, and the parents needed that relief. But again, I say the blessing and the challenges, because with them being remote, we could help to teach parents strategies and to show them in real time some of the strategies that we use to get through, get across our points and our skills that we're trying to impart to parents, because that carry over in the home is also very critical. So we were blessed by COVID that we got that opportunity, but we're glad to be back in-house with them.
Okay, thank you, Julie. You spoke about an organization that is very special to me, WinReach. I actually was talking with Tina Nash just this morning, and she was excited about some things that are going on up there later on in the year, and that we were talking about. And we know that the Ministry of Education does provide a grant to WinReach on an annual basis. What are the sorts of things that the students at DAME gain from institutions like WinReach?
Oh, well, WinReach is first and foremost an awesome community partner. Their team is amazing, and we just work really closely with them to try and do some carryover of a lot of the skills that the students are working on in school. So at the start of every school year, the WinReach team will contact us to find out, well, what are the goals that your students are working on this year? It may be goals like that are part of their classroom IEP, or goals that are therapeutic. And they really work alongside us to give students an opportunity to work on those in a different environment. So for some students, you can imagine sitting in a classroom all day is not always the most conducive learning environment. Kids really benefit from learning through movement. And just the whole environment at WinReach is so therapeutic. Our students love going there. I love going there, I'll be honest.
Yes,
and this wouldn't be possible. I know, and we'll touch on the Friends of Hope Academy, but the Smile Bus. and so without that transportation there, it would be difficult to transport them back and forth for sure. And so big shout out to that.
I'll be honest, your ministry drivers are the ones that actually take us to WinReach. So kudos to Mr. Percy and Mr. Joe, because they're the ones that take us to WinReach every week. But for sure, Smiley Bus is used nearly every day to take students out in the community. We really believe that we want our students to be part of Bermuda's community. We want them to be out and learning about different things in our beautiful environment. So they get an opportunity to go out on the Smiley Bus. And again, to carry over some of those goals that they're learning in the classroom.
I see there's a question that has been asked by one of our listening audience, and it's what happens when students finish at Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy?
I think that's my remit. When students finish at DAME, and I need the public to know that we do extend the age beyond 18
Yes.
if we are able to do so for students at Dame Marjorie Bean. What has typically happened in past years is that students would transition sometimes into Margaret Carter. And in the last couple of years, Margaret Carter has been oversubscribed. So students, like I said, we keep them as long as we can. But Minister, I want to challenge you because we had
Hmm.
this discussion just the other day about what
Yeah.
we are going to do to make sure that our community, Bermuda as a whole, makes provisions for our most vulnerable people. Because once they leave Dame, they're no longer students; they become vulnerable people. So, just so the public knows, I have been in talks with MP Tanae Furbett, and we are looking at next steps to improve the quality of life for our vulnerable people in our country. So I just wanted the public to know that this is something that is at the front of our minds and something that we're working towards, improving the quality of life for all Bermuda citizens, including the students who go to Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy and beyond. So that's part of what's coming up next.
And thank you, Tina. And that was a reason why I did ask that question. That it is something that the government knows. It's a huge thing that we need to tackle, and that is, and we're not even just talking about when persons transition out of Dame. We're also talking when they transition out of the foster care program. When they transition, because the Ministry of Education or the Department of Education is up to 18, and that's our mandate. But there has to be other things for these students, because they're still students at that time in my mind to do. And yes, Margaret K. Carter has been oversubscribed, and I do know about the extension because it's something that has to come to me to sign off on.
For
And
approval, right?
I readily, as long as Ms. Phillips says that there's space, there is no hesitation to sign off on. But it is a larger problem that us in the Bermudian community need to fully understand that we do need to look long term on how we handle these types of cases.
Minister, I wanted to interject when Principal Phillips was speaking about thanking people that assisted when we were going through, we're still going through COVID, but for the Dame population, the MDL layup and the flexibility of the staff
Yes.
members. I wanted to just say a big thank you to them publicly on behalf of the Department of Education. We recognize that, sometimes was outside of their box as well, but they readily came and were readily available to assist. And when I went to get my last test at Bermuda College, they mentioned, did we miss these students at Dame? I wish I could go back there. See what you can do about having me go back down there to do their testing, because I really, really enjoyed working with those people. So I just want to give a big shout out to those folks at the MDL layout. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Tina. I do want to echo those comments. For those of you that don't know the amount of work that they put together to test, to put together the schedules, because we depend on them to put together the schedules of how students will be tested when we go back to school, and we're talking about going back to saliva testing we never stopped saliva screening at Dame. That always continued even through them being overwhelmed. They made that adjustment. But now that things have calmed down a little bit more, we're looking at how we can bring that back to at least the preschool and the primary level for those younger ones that are a bit more vulnerable and might not be as comfortable doing their own testing at home, and putting saliva in the little tube. They're used to that now, and they're going to be fine doing that. So huge kudos to MDL and that team there that has helped us to come up with how we can perform these screening tests in the most efficient method. I know some people do complain, why can't we drive from work to Bermuda College? Why can't I have one around the corner from my house? Sort of, sometimes we get those types of conversations, but we are working with what we have. And so I just wanted to shift a little bit. I know we touched on the Friends of Hope Academy. And I want to use this opportunity let's put some spotlight on them. And perhaps we have people out there that's in the listening audience can see how they can assist and be a part of the Friends of Hope Academy. So And this is opened up to any of you. What is exactly the charity's focus?
I can take that one. So the charity's focused. One of the main goals is to support Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy, and really making sure that we're able to achieve all of our goals and visions for our students in the school. You know, due to the specialized needs of our students, there's sometimes really expensive equipment that would benefit them, or there are services that maybe don't fall under our regular budget but we feel be really beneficial to them. The charity has committed to assisting us with those kind of costs. And so sometimes we will get donors that reach out, and so we will work through the Friends of Hope Academy to make those connections and to fulfill some of the school's wish lists, so to speak.
Okay.
Another one of the main focuses is to help provide respite for families. So during the school vacations, obviously we're a government school, so we would have the same holiday closures that other schools have. But the difference for our families is that there's not a lot of community camps that are able to manage our students' needs and to work with them. So the charity has kindly, for the many years now, sponsored a Christmas and an Easter camp at our school. And so that's mainly for students of Dame, but also we've had students from other schools attend as well. And then they also help to support in the summertime. Windreach, again, shout out to them. They usually host a camp in August for our students, and Friends of Hope partners with them on that as well. So I would say those two key things are probably the main focus of Friends of Hope Academy and the support that they give us.
Okay, good stuff. I did find out last week when I had my meeting with the PTA of Dame that there's summer school that happens at Dame, and I was unaware. I was unaware that there was summer school. So, what are the types of things that happen in summer? Is it actual school or is it more camp focused?
It is actual school. Thank you for asking. A few years ago, we started off as a summer camp. However, as you can appreciate for our students, they require repeated practice in order for them to attain mastery of skills. And parents are very cognizant of that, and they're very keen on having their students learn and having everyone understand that their children are also lifelong learners. And because they require this repeated practice, what we do have, we made that shift from summer camp to summer school, where we do continue to work on some IEP goals and extended learning skills. The beauty about the summer camp is that the summer school is that we also open it up. We have had other teachers from the other schools come in to join, and we have been blessed to be able to share and educate fellow educators about what we actually do at Dame, because there is a misnomer about what we do at Dame. Dame, some people perceive it as babysitting, daycare. We're not really doing academics, so there are lots of questions. And having had some educators come in, paraeducators, teachers come in to join us, it has opened their eyes to what we do as well, which has been a blessing. And what we have seen is sometimes we've been working on a goal for a student from September until May, June. We've closed out the IEP. And all of a sudden, everything comes together in that summer program. And the team starts dancing because, yes, we've finally hit it. The kids have got what we have been trying to impart, that we do the same thing in various ways across settings, across persons, so that we're sure that they understand the skill and they've mastered it, and it comes together in the summer program. The Ministry of Education actually pays for that, and it is a blessing. And over the past 2 years, it has been just, usually we've had a situation of, is it going to happen? Isn't it going to happen? Over the past 2 years, it has just flowed right onto the end of our regular school year. And it's a blessing. So
Well,
thank you.
I will say we will continue to do what we can on our end. Just staying with the charity. Again, I guess Julie, since you're the charity representative, if someone wanted to donate to Friends of Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy, is there options to do that?
Yep. So you can go right onto the charity's website, which is www.friendsofhopeacademy.com. And on there, there's a tab that says Team Hope. That's actually one of our major fundraisers. But if you click on that tab, there is information on the bank accounts on the side. So direct deposit is definitely always welcome. I believe we still actually have a donate button that people can do a direct donation, like with a credit card at this time.
Okay, and I see that. And for the watching audience, the URL is scrolling at the bottom.
Yeah.
So our people are working pretty quickly. If someone wanted to donate to help out at Dame, is that a possibility?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What are they donating?
Money?
Time. They want to donate time to
Right.
help out at
That's
Dame.
why I said let's clarify, because right now, because of COVID, we
Because
just
and I
can't
was
take
gonna
anybody
say
into the building. So that's why I had to
out
make
of
sure we're
COVID
clear.
and I do know that there are some lessening of some of these restrictions that are being discussed, and we're looking to hopefully announce some things that will allow things that we're used to of visiting on campus. Or what we call site visits or field trips, graduations.
Yes.
Different things like that we have shied away from. We're certainly looking at on how we can modify our current guidelines to ensure that we can do this, which would include, obviously, of course, parents being able to visit. Now that we have antigen testing widely available, and there are different things that can be put in place to allow some of this stuff to happen. I've had fun tonight. I think, and I've seen some of the comments. I see things like, these camps are a blessing. The teachers are awesome. I've seen these comments, so people are listening, and that is a good thing. The purpose of these shows is to give people an opportunity to see what is going on within our school system that they might not necessarily have an opportunity to see. I do ask persons to tune in. We'll be together again on Monday, but this time on the radio. We'll be
Yes.
speaking along the same subjects. We'll be at Magic, Magic 102.7, speaking on the radio. But before and I see we're getting up in time. It's about 10 to. Typically we go to about quarter to, sometimes go to 7, sometimes go beyond. But it really just depends on the interaction we're getting back from the from the persons that are looking. If not closing out, but just giving you guys an opportunity to pitch, to pitch Dame, and just really drive home the importance of why this school exists, the benefits that our children are getting from this school. Just let the people know that this is what we're doing, this is what we're about, and this is why we exist. And we can always use your help. We'll start with you, and I'll work my way around to end with you, Ms. Phillips, as the principal,
Okay.
and I'll start with Ms. Lynn.
I would say that being at the school has been a blessing for me. I'm actually one of the longest standing staff members there. I've been there now, I want to say this is my 17th school year.
Wow.
Yes. And for me, Dame is like a family. And I think for our families who become really involved at the school, they can feel that too. And I think that's one of the greatest benefits for our students to come there. The staff really care about each child that's there. And you can see that, even sometimes when it's difficult, they push through because they care. So I feel really blessed to work with the team that I work with and with the students that I work with, because I think that's the reason why I've stayed for so long.
And we appreciate you, Julie. Thank you very much for your dedication. 17 years. Patty Jean, any final comments?
I enjoy working with the team there as well. Just as Julie said, they're very dedicated. I love their flexibility. You know, if one thing doesn't work, they're willing to try something else. And one of the things I'm appreciating is their willingness to even expand their horizons. We've been doing some PDs with overseas schools, like Texas School for the Blind, for example. And, you know, they have just embraced the opportunity to not just take advantage of local professional development, but also having the opportunity to expand and go overseas and be a part of a global professional development programs.
Good stuff. Miss Duke, now I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, right?
Okay.
We've heard this term mentioned in this conversation, and I'm sure people have heard it. People may not know what it means. IEP.
That's not putting me on the spot. Okay,
I
Minister.
know, I'm putting you on the spot. I was just seeing how I can draw you in.
IEP stands for Individualized Education Plan Program. Some people use the two P words interchangeably, but it's an individual education plan for students. For those of you that are familiar with the Education Act actually talks about every child being afforded the opportunity to have an IEP. And that's an individualized education plan. Hopefully we'll be able to change that, because we want to change it to ILP in the Act, because an IEP actually is based on diagnosed treatment that children with special needs should receive. Whether it be for a learning disability, whether it be for, well, it could be anything that child needs in order to be successful in the school environment. So we want to sort of change the language in the Act as time goes by, but that's what it stands for. That individual plan, goals and objectives that pertain to that child and that child only, to ensure their educational success.
Okay.
So that's what an IEP is.
Mm-hmm. Now, any closing comments you want to have? It doesn't have to. I know you cover DAME, you cover everything. So,
right. I want to just give, again, I want to shout out to the team at Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy for the work that they do with our most vulnerable population. I also want to give credence to the principal for, she has done so much in getting out to the public what happens at Dame. And she has been hosting these virtual open houses that are just phenomenal. So if you're tuned in and you're saying, you know, I would love to go visit. Someone sent me a message saying, I would love to go visit Dame. Once Dame has their next open house virtually, I'm gonna, put it out to the public to, come and join, come and see what happens. It will open up your eyes. Miss Principal Phillips, remember that one gentleman that we had, and he was just like awestruck through the entire open house, because he was like, oh my God, I never knew that all of that was happening down that hill. So I just want to say again, kudos to the team that works with this very, very, very special population. You guys are special people. Minister, thank you for your support. Thank you for taking the time to allow us this platform. And to Ms. Celeste for getting us all ready and primed for this evening. Thank you guys for all that you do. But again, it's imperative, and it's important for the public to understand that these are people too. And that's my closing statement.
Thank you for that, Ms. Duke. Ms. Phillips?
Thank you, Minister, and thank you to the team. I reflect on the first time I walked through the doors of Dame, and I said, this is a diamond. This is a diamond, and we have been polishing it. I want to thank the team for working so closely with me, for challenging. We go back and forth and we challenge each other to grow. And whenever we falter, we pull the other one along. And we have been doing, as Julie mentioned, and as Patty mentioned, we have been doing a lot of training, because as you can appreciate, it requires a lot of knowledge and skill on our part to do the best by way of our students. And they have been doing a remarkable job taking it on. I want to say thank you to Friends of Hope, because they have also been supporting the payment for some of the PDs that we've been doing.
Mhm.
And I want to say thank you to Ms. Duke, Commissioner Richards, yourself, Dr. Simmons, for giving me the air and for helping me to explain the why, some of the asks for some of the sessions that we have been having at Dame. I truly appreciate the experience. The children are my joy. So I was off on leave the other day because I wasn't feeling 100%, and they sent me pictures of the students, and I love Dame because they're just the most dynamic, most amazing students to work with. The parents are wonderful, and the team, phenomenal. You have a phenomenal team at Dame. Everyone bringing their own strength.
And thank you, everybody. You can sense, and Bermuda, if you're listening, you can sense the passion and the dedication right in this room. But to bring it full circle, I'm looking at the comments and they're blowing up on the side of the screen. And who is in there? We see some of the parents. They're tuned in, and that's when I said that they are really, really involved in this school. I just want to say thank you, PTA President Miss. I hope I say this right. Peart.
Peart.
Peart. Thank you, Miss Peart. I see you there. You made comments, and this is the dedication. And this is I've always maintained that a school is only as successful as the three parts that involves the school. That is the parents, that is the students, and that is the teachers. And all three of those parts are working together to achieve the outcomes that need to be achieved. Nothing is impossible that cannot be achieved within a school system. We always need to have those three parts chugging along and working hand in hand. So with that, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I know I have to hand it back to Dana to take us away. But I've been excited about what I've heard tonight. I hope we've excited the Bermudian public. Tune in again. As I said, we will have this group with us again when we are on the radio on Monday. And in 2 weeks' time, we will have another episode of Education Connection, where we will be coming back to tell you something else that's happening in education that you may not be fully aware of or you may not fully understand. So with that, I'll pass it back to you, Miss Dana. Dr. Selassie, I do apologize.
That's fine. Thank you, Minister. And I want to say a huge thank you to all of the guests tonight. You ladies have done a fantastic job. I do want to remind people that are interested in making donations. Please, Julie, let me know if I get this wrong, but it's www.friendsofhopeacademy.com. That's for donations. So we want the community to participate, get involved, and thank you very much. And as an additional extension to what Ms. Duke was saying in reference to things that are going on with disability issues, I do want to let the public know that next week, Thursday at 6 p.m. on CITV, Minister Furbett, the Minister of Social Development and Seniors, will be hosting a discussion on disability, equity, and equality. So that's an extension to this conversation as well. So we want to thank you all for being here this evening. Minister, thank you once again, and we'll be back on this platform again in 2 weeks. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.